Okay, so we'll start the session. So, hi everyone. Thanks for joining in. I would like to welcome all of you to today's webinar, which is all about Fusion ERP reporting in or two different approaches, OSCS and Power BI. I'm sure today we will get more insight about reporting on ERP application, and we will show you how our team uh, successfully face the data from Oracle Cloud ERP and put it into these two different BI reporting tools. Let's start with my introduction. My name is Amol Paswande. I am with Bizmetric for 7+ years with an overall experience of 13 years of experience. I am basically an Oracle ERP consultant focusing on supply chain modules. So without wasting everybody else time, we will just start our journey into the reporting on Oracle Fusion Cloud ERP. Reporting on Fusion ERP applications. So yeah, so the next slide, please. Yeah, so today this is our agenda for today's webinar. So this is the value you will get today at the end of the webinar. So what is this webinar is all about? So this webinar is all about, how can we do better reporting for Oracle Fusion ERP customers using OSCS and Power BI. We will see how our team faced the data from ERP application and present it into these two different, altogether different softwares. One is from Oracle, other is from Microsoft. Then comes what is the purpose of this webinar. So you may be wondering, how we come up with this topic or this concept. So this journey starts when Amit gave us a task to explore Oracle FAW offering, which is Fusion Analytical Warehouse offering from Oracle, which is itself a great product. But when we try to dig in more into that particular product, we found that there is no training, there is no POC, there is no content available for that particular offering, and it is very easy to implement, but it's not that easy to extend to other applications, custom applications, because there is no backend access to ERP application, this Fusion ERP application. So that trigger us to do something like this, where we can pull the data and put it into two different application like Power BI and OSCS. So yeah, so that is the background of this. Also, this webinar will bring you to different ways. One is from Oracle as well as Power BI, and we know nowadays Power BI application is getting lots of hits from all the customers. So our chances to to create such application and give it to our target audience is more as compared to Oracle. And then the question arises in everybody's mind is, who is our target audience? So basically, yeah, as it is based on Oracle ERP Fusion application, so our target is all the customers, those who are already using Fusion application, or they are going to move their ERP application from R12 to Fusion application, or directly from any ERP system to Fusion application. And at the end, we will have this question and answer session from Tarang. So let me read out the rules for this webinar. Okay. So before we start here, the rules is like, everybody will be on mute and video is off except the presenter. And if you have any questions, queries, feedback, just put it into the chat window. At the end of the session, me and Tarang will try to give answers to them, all the questions and queries. Now I'm done with my part. So I'm handing over mic to Tarang Jain, and he will guide us to this whole webinar. So thank you everybody for joining. Hi Tarang, over to you. Now you can start your. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Amol. So let me just switch on my camera and then. Okay. Hi, everyone. So as Amol gave you a little bit brief about that, like what we are planning to discuss in this webinar. So before starting that, let me give you a brief about myself. So my name is Tarang Jain, and I'm in Bizmetric from almost 1.5 years now. And I have total 16 years of experience in multiple technologies related to Oracle, as well as worked on multiple cloud technologies. So in this one, as Amol said, we started with the discussion on FAW. So the plan was like, let's see how Oracle has provided its offering and what best we can do for our customers with this offering. So we started like looking into this FAW offering and try to create some visualizations on that. So when we were discussing, we thought like what else we can give to a customer. Like FAW, yes, this is a solution given by Oracle out of the box. This can be uh, given by multiple vendors can give. What extra benefit we can give to the customers? Then we thought of like, why not we create the reports in Power BI as well as, so that will give an option to customers if they want reports on Power BI. Yes, so Bizmetric has that solution. So as a lot of customers in market, you can see now most of people are using, customers are using Microsoft Power BI for their reporting perspective. So that's why this came into this an idea. So I'll first of all, I'll start with an FAW. I'll give you guys a little bit brief about what is FAW, and then we will move to our case study. So Oracle FAW, which is Oracle Fusion Analytics Warehouse. So this Oracle Fusion Analytics Warehouse is basically a solution or an offering given by Oracle, which is a predefined solution for Fusion customers. When we say Fusion customers like Oracle ERP customers, they can have a readily available system where they have a pre-built ETL jobs, which will pull the data from their the Fusion instance. And then the reporting is there, and a standard out-of-the-box reports has been given by Oracle, which is on OACS, Oracle Analytics Cloud Services. So they have given pre-built reports and dashboards and some of the KPIs as well, which we customers can use as an like plug and play of offering. Also, this FAW is highly extendable and customizable. So when we say extendable and customizable, I can give you an example. Like for example, a customer is using Salesforce as a service, as a tool, and also in Oracle ERP, Fusion ERP. So Salesforce is used to create the opportunities on the quotes for a customer for the products they are selling, and then those that opportunity get converted into a sales, and then the in Oracle ERP sales has been created. The sales order is created in Oracle ERP, Fusion ERP. So now user can request like they want a consolidated report from the Salesforce and Oracle Fusion ERP. So in that area, we have done our POC where like how we can extend this FAW to customize the business requirement of customer and show a consolidated report on different data sources. Now in FAW, as a components, what Oracle provides us is what or we need to implement this FAW is a Fusion SaaS application, which is your Fusion ERP. Then we need at one ETL service, which is like ETL tool, which is given by Oracle, a standard, which the Oracle tool is ODI, Oracle Data Integrator Marketplace. And then they have given us the standard out of the box schema where we have all the data warehouse tables. Then the next layer is the reporting layer, which is our OACS. They have given a pre-built subject areas on the basis of different sub modules like AP, AR, GL, and you can have pre-built reports and dashboards there. And after that, they have some contents related to KPIs, visualizations, and machine learning models. This is the high-level architecture diagram of FAW. So now, as you can see on the screen, so the red part, which is mentioned as Oracle managed, and the blue part on the right side is managed as customer managed. So when we say Oracle managed, so as this is a cloud product, so it is managed by Oracle. So definitely it gives a benefit to our customers, like the cost is less and the maintenance is less from a customer perspective. So when they say Oracle managed, so this is a package which is immutable, like you cannot make any changes in this package. It is given by Oracle, the ETL service, the ODI jobs and the mappings which has been created, and the factory schema, so and the reporting reports which they have given, which is not modified. You cannot modify it. However, after that, on the right hand side, which is the blue part, is a customer managed. So when we say customer managed is in the scenario which I've explained in the last, like if there is some Excel data which needs to be included into our reporting layer. So that the external legacy systems or the source systems can be configured using customer managed area, where you can have your third party applications. Then you can use the ETL service, which is again the ODI marketplace. And then you can create your custom schema where you can have your facts and dimensions, and on top of that, you can create a reporting layer. So in Oracle OACS, or as we have given, we have tried in Power BI as well. So this is the high level architecture diagram of FAW. Now, this is our case study, what we have done. So in case study, we have extracted some of the data from the Fusion ERP, which basically in Fusion ERP, the data is stored in the view objects we called as VOs. And so when we extract the data, we have to identify the VOs which needs to be extracted. So we have considered in this one AP invoices, supplier sites, business unit information from the Oracle ERP Fusion. And we have combined this data with a custom data set of a country, state, and the region. That basically we created one Excel sheet on the basis of US country and their states and the region. So what we have tried in this one, as you can see in this high level architecture diagram, we have extracted the Fusion ERP VPOs, and we have the legacy system, that is where Excel we have used in this example, in this case study. However, as I said, we can use Salesforce or any other legacy applications. It has been configured using ODI Marketplace and the cloud storage of Oracle OCI. And we have used called as BICC connector, which is basically a business intelligence cloud connector, which help us to extract the data from the Fusion ERP. After that, the data has been loaded into the Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse. And on top of that, we have created the reports on OACS, which is your Oracle reporting layer, and the Power BI, which is your Microsoft reporting layer. And you guys must have read in last, I think a week or 2 weeks back, Oracle and Microsoft are coming together, and they are providing the Oracle OCI connectivity in Power BI now. So they are also giving that access, like Power BI can access the data from OCI cloud directly and can use that data to create the reports in Power BI. So this is what the same we are trying to achieve. So in this case study, as a solution, I've mentioned these points. So what we have done, we will go step by step in detail with these steps in the coming next slides. So provisioning our ODI marketplace, that is like configuring the ODI, then configuring the Oracle object storage, which is on OCI account, then configuring our BICC connector, which is nothing but business intelligence cloud connector, to write the data on our storage layer, OCI storage. Then after that, we have to configuring the ODI topologies. So all the details I'll provide you when we move to these slides. Then creating your ODI models. The next is creating knowledge modules in ODI. Then create the mapping of ODI and run those ODI mappings or pipelines, you can say. And nowadays we usually say pipelines. So creating those pipelines, and then fetch the data, load it into your database, and then create the reports on Power BI and autonomous in your OACS model. So I'll move the next slide now. So this is our Oracle Cloud screen, where Oracle has given all the applications which can be installed on your Oracle Cloud account. So in this applications, you have to go and search for the data integrator web edition, which is a stack type. So when, as per Oracle, if you have a FAW license, then this Oracle data integrator is free for us. So you can use that Oracle data integrator as an ETL service to fetch the data. So the first step, we have to install ODI Marketplace. And once you install this ODI Marketplace, it will install one virtual machine, Linux virtual machine. And then on top of that, we have to install one VNC to connect to that Linux server to have a UI screens to connect with the ODI. Step 2, configure Oracle object storage. So as I said, so once we created our Oracle account and bring the ODI instance, after that we have to create the OCI bucket. So this bucket is basically used to store the files. So once we create the connections, we fetch the data from Oracle Fusion ERP, it pulls the data and load it into a file format and the CSV format, which will be stored into the OCI buckets. And then from that buckets, ODI will read the data and load it into the data warehouse. So the buckets needs to be created in the OCI account. Step 3 is configuring BICC connector. So BICC Business Intelligence Cloud Connector. So this BICC connector is available at our ERP, Oracle Fusion ERP. So we have to use an extension called as BIACM with our ERP URL. Then you will get the screen, which is Oracle Business Intelligence Cloud Connector console. In this console, you can create your offerings. So when we say offerings, so offerings is nothing but what type of data we need to extract from the ERP, from the Fusion ERP. So we have the different VOs for finance, for SCM, HR. So all those VOs can be extracted basis on the base of our requirement. And when we extract this, so for this POC, as you can see, we have created one BICC POC offering. So in this offering, basically, we have included our AP invoices, supplier side, and business unit VOs. So that has been created, and these are the parameters which needs to be given for the in the BICC connector, where once we run this BICC connector, the job, it will load this data into a CSV format in the OCI buckets. So here you can see we have the bucket name, the host name, which is our OCI Cloud Connect, the URL, tenant ID, user ID, and all the information is given here. On BICC connector, you can see that you have extract preferences, reset last extract date. So these are the variables or the pointers where you can use to extract the data from the Oracle ERP. So extract can be your full load or an incremental load. So if you want to run it daily, so you can configure that at a BICC level, and that extract will that BICC connector will extract the data on daily basis and an incremental load. Step 4. So this is basically comes under ODI. So where we have to configure the ODI topologies. So those who guys are from an Oracle or ODI background, they must be aware what is topology. So I'll give you a little bit brief about that. So when we say topology, it's nothing but called as data sources. So in any ETL tool, you have a source and you have a target. So before creating your ETL jobs, you have to define a source connection and a target connection. So this is all which is called as topology in ODI. So for this FAW perspective, we have to configure 3 topologies. First topology is for Oracle BI Cloud Connector, which will bring the metadata of all the VOs which we want to import into our database. The data which we want to import into our autonomous data warehouse. The next is your Oracle Object Cloud Storage, where it will store the files, the CSV files. And then the next is your Oracle ADW, so which is your autonomous data warehouse. Your data warehouse connection needs to be created in that. So once all these 3 connections are created, the next step is we have to create a model. So when we say model, this model will help us. Once the topologies are created, this model will help us to bring the metadata from our using BICC cloud, and we can bring the metadata of our offerings, whatever the VOs we have selected. So you can see that in this screen, we have given our the cloud connector technology, what we have created, and logical schema, BICC logical schema. And after that, we have created the we have selected the BICC POC offering. So the same offering which we created in BICC connector, that offering we have to select, and we have to do a reverse engineering in this. So once we do the reverse engineering, it will import the VOs metadata, the definitions of those VOs into a ODI layer. After that, we have to configure our knowledge modules. So knowledge modules is nothing but this in ODI we are called as knowledge modules, which is like a logic which needs to be used to extract the data. So these are the predefined modules which is given by ODI, which can be used to extract the views definitions from ERP, Fusion ERP. So we have to import this knowledge module in our ODI. So next step is creating an ODI project and the mapping. So now, as we already created our data sources, we configured our knowledge module. So now the next step is we have to create a mapping in ODI or a pipeline, which you will say. So creating a mapping means we have to fetch the data which is loaded into our OCI bucket in the CSV file format, fetch that data, extract the data, and load it into your autonomous data warehouse. You can see in this screen, we have created this mapping Fusion to ADW POC. In this one, all the VPOs which we have extracted from Fusion has been mapped to the target tables. So these target tables is the tables which we have created in the autonomous data warehouse. And this is like a replication of data from VOs which has been fetched from Oracle Fusion ERP into our target database. Once the mapping is created, all the, the configuration is completed and the pipeline is completed, then we have to run the ODI mapping. So when we say run the ODI mapping is we have to run the load and extract the data from the CSV files, which has been loaded into our OCI account, OCI buckets, basically. So once we load this data, it will load into our autonomous data warehouse. After this, the next step is now we have to create our reports. So before creating the reports, we have to create a Power BI model. So we have tried to given you a look and feel of a star schema, which we tried to create. Definitely, yes, it's not a star schema. It has some snowflake feature as well, which we want to showcase in this case study. So you have invoice header and invoice lines, which is nothing, all the facts. Business unit is one of your dimension, which is from Oracle Fusion ERP. Supplier sites information, again from your Fusion ERP. This is the quarter dimension, which we have created a custom dimension for our reporting perspective as a time dimension. And now you can see on this right hand side, which is USA region CSV data. So this data basically we have loaded from CSV into our target data warehouse in a table. And then we have used this as a region which is linked to the supplier site. So in this case study, as we want to show how we can leverage the feature of an external sources and can create a report, a consolidated report with Fusion ERP as well as the legacy system. So we have tried to create a report using this region with supplier side and the invoice information. So this is a Power BI dashboard, which the visualization which we have created. You can see that we have used some prompts for the region, the year and the business unit. So region is coming from our the custom data, which is from CSV. Then you have high level total invoices created in this quarter or in this year for all the business units. Then the total invoices amount and foreign currency invoices. After that, if you can see this particular graph, so invoices amount by state and region. So the custom data which we have brought in for the states and the region. So we have tried to showcase that information in this visualization. Then we have given you top 10 suppliers on the basis of their invoice value. So that is one of the report. And below you can see AP invoice quarterly trend. So these are the quarter wise we are trying to show the invoice amount in every quarter for the selected parameters. And the another report we have created invoice activity, which is nothing but the number of invoices created and the amount of those invoices in quarter 1, quarter 2, 3, and 4. So this is what we have created in Power BI. Same we have tried to create in our OACS data model. So in this one, we have just taken invoice header, quarter, supplier side, and the USA region table. In, same, the supplier side invoice header and is coming from Oracle Fusion ERP. Quarter is a custom data dimension which we have created, and USA region again is a legacy Excel sheet data, which we have tried to bring it into a same model. The visualization we created in OSES. Again, we have created something similar type of reports. In this one, the AP amount quarterly trend, then top 10 suppliers, and your AP invoice activity, and AP invoices amount by state. So this is our POC, which we have done. And now I'll just show you the Power BI dashboard, which we have created, just give you a look and feel of that dashboard. So this is the dashboard which we have created in Power BI. So you have an option to select the year, whatever the year you want to select, or your data will refresh accordingly. I'm sure a lot of people are aware of Power BI. So this is what we have tried to achieve, bringing the ERP Fusion data into Power BI. So most of the customers, as I said, are using Power BI nowadays. So they are somewhere lagging in that, like they want Power BI for reporting, but there is no solution. So we, as a Bizmetric, trying to solve that challenge and bring it in front of our customers as an offering where we can do the reporting on Power BI for your Fusion data. So this is all from my side today. So Amol, on to you, please.
Yes. Thank you, Taran, for the wonderful session. I hope everyone got the information which we are trying to convey by this webinar. Now, I would like to open this forum for discussion. So if anybody has any question, queries, feedback, please feel to unmute and post your queries. You can post in the chat also, or you can unmute and directly ask to Tarang.
Yeah, hi Tarang, Vishwas here.
Yeah, hi Vishwas, tell me.
So I have a very quick question. So while we are loading the data and before we generate the report, is there any form of transformation required?
Okay,
Data
so
transformation?
yes, definitely. It totally depends on Vishwas on the requirements. So as of now, what we have done, we have just bring the invoice data supplier side and just a one-to-one replication of the data and just created the report. Definitely, if for example, if we want to do a reporting on multiple data sources, and that may require some transformation. So it's totally on the business needs and the customer requirement. If that requires some transformation, so we have the facility of ODI where we can bring the data into one of our stage layer and then create on top of that, we can do the transformations and then do the reporting.
Okay, so we can do it via ODI, right?
Yes, we can definitely.
Okay.
We can leverage that feature.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah.
Any other
Anybody?
questions?
So I just wanted to know when the you said integration between Oracle and Microsoft, basically between both of them. And you said that from Power BI, somebody could now connect to an Oracle Cloud. I think you said OCI, right? So the question is, has that happened already? Do you have the
no, Sangram. So I'm not sure whether they have started or not, but yes, it is under discussions, and we saw that news. They are coming up with these options. However, what we have done as of now, we have just on our the server we have installed that Power BI desktop and then created ODBC connection with our OCI cloud connector, and then we fetch the data in the Power BI.
Okay,
so this is Amit. So just to qualify that answer, so we did see some demo over here by some other third-party vendor who showed the connection between the two clouds. So just to clarify that connection actually exists now, and that is what was announced. So it's available, and Tarang, I think we discussed. You'll be looking into that part, right?
Yes.
How to do that connection, yes, but it exists already.
Okay.
Go ahead, Sangram, please.
Yeah, nothing. I was just thinking about a possibility where Power BI can directly connect to this thing, the Oracle Fusion Cloud, and that could be used to do some operational reporting. In case of the product that we are building, we are connecting directly to our web application, which is hosted on the cloud, and that if if at all this is possible, or if it becomes possible, what will happen to Oracle's OTBI? So these are some of the questions.
Yeah. No, good questions. So one thing I can answer is that you can do a cloud to cloud connection. Now, what is not clear in my mind, because see, especially with Oracle Fusion, they don't allow database access. So the way the data is exposed right now, how Tarang and team has done the proof of concept is to extract the data through BICC and store it somewhere in a file format. So I'm sure that there is some REST API or something we'll find which is more real time. We haven't gotten there yet, but as we find it, I think it's definitely a possibility.
Sure.
So the innovation, or what Satya and Larry Listen announced. So somebody explained in a session, like I was saying, in a little more detail. So currently Azure can connect to on-premise, as we know. They call it something called as Express Connect. Some of the people on the call might know. And same thing actually goes on the Oracle side. So they were actually connecting their clouds to on-premise. So the innovation is that these two connectors, now they have found out how they can talk to each other. So there is a direct connectivity, cloud to cloud. And another part of this whole control is, so Azure has come up with what they call as a panel for multi-cloud. And when you go there, you can actually see the components, or the applications which are sitting on Oracle side. So some of those facilities are available now. And I asked them a question about Power BI connecting, and there was a simple yes, but I think we have to, Tarang and team is going to test that part out, and it'll be exciting to see how that goes.
Yeah, absolutely.
So good questions. Yeah. And we are fairly excited about the possibilities. And the second part, which you said about what will happen to their products, hey, this is a new paradigm now. I think they also know where this is going. And I think it's all about, I think from business perspective, I'm sure Oracle databases, pie is being eaten by Amazon, maybe, because they have all this RDSs and Postgres databases, right? So there's a whole lot of migration going on. So they want to stop that, and probably, this is the way to, that's the deal they're making with Azure.
Right.
Okay. All right. Other questions?
Yeah. Anybody has any other questions? I would like to ask from my side, so Tarang, what is a typical timeline for this project which you have created, what we expect, like if you want to give some timeline to customer, like within this timeline, this can be done. So what is your thought on that?
So Amol, so basically, if you want to give just a small POC, I would say 2 weeks is enough because as we know how to do this, all the configurations and everything. So 2 weeks is maximum to give a demo or a POC to a customer on this data, on their data, basically. So if they give us access to their Fusion cloud, and then we can do this POC. So 2 weeks, but definitely, if you ask me a project specific, then it totally depends on the what the requirements are there. Yeah.
Maybe the question is not related to this webinar, and you can choose to answer it later. But Power BI also has some kind of a write back capability now. So, have we explored that part as yet?
Maybe yes, Sangram, what you said is is not the part of this webinar, but we need to check that with our Power BI Microsoft SME, whether we have explored this option or not.
So I don't know if Roshan is actually on the call. Maybe I can again take that question. So there is a project which is going on where there's a pilot project going for one of our customers, Murphy, which actually requires a write back. So I know for sure Roshan and team are looking into the capability for sure, and maybe in few weeks they can share. So yeah, I mean, if there is a possibility of write back, Sangram, and maybe they can showcase to you in coming weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to see that in action.
Absolutely, absolutely. So from my side, and I see, first of all, just want to make a general comment. I see about 60 people logged in, which is great. I think this is great scalability on Microsoft Teams side, as well as for everybody who is taking time to attend. I just hope everybody learned something here. I do see Dhruva on the line. So Dhruva, I'm going to because you look at Fusion and you look at PBCS and FCCS. These are all EPM products on cloud. So I just wanted to kind of say maybe you saw some use cases here where means we can. I don't know if you would like to comment on how the reporting is on those cloud products, and maybe look, there might be some use cases to address it through Power BI, possibly.
Yeah, we have possibilities, Amit. So there are, especially when it's coming to the consolidation side.
Go ahead, please.
On the consolidation side, and I do see a lot of cross functionalities of these products, because whatever you see in product A will not be available in product B, or vice versa. So we can do some cross usage of Power BI into the FCCS side more, because planning is very less. Planning, you don't do much of detailed reporting. The consolidations you do because you bring in a lot of GLs, and then you can still do it. Even though transaction level you can do, but I see more from an FCCS point of view.
Right. And when I mentioned Power BI, of course, there's OACS capabilities as well, which Tarang showed. So both are possibilities, right? And just kind of exposing. Okay, perfect. No, thanks for sharing, because you folks are working on the Fusion, applications. I'm pretty sure some of the other folks on our Oracle side are working, but I know your use case for sure. So, okay, sounds good. Amol, back to you. If you might have a few more comments.
Yes, yeah. So Tarang, any thoughts on incremental refresh on this kind of integration? How
Yes,
much
so
they are
definitely,
take
Amol.
time,
So
or
so we have that option. So first of all, in BICC connector, once we configure that, there's an option to do an incremental refresh of data that can be configured on a weekly, daily, or monthly, the way we want. And after that, once that is configured, it will load the data into our CSV files, and then we have an ODI from where we can schedule again and then fetch the data from those CSVs into our autonomous data warehouse. So yes, definitely we have incremental data options in that.
okay, nice. Thank you for your answer. So yeah, so we have still time. So anybody wants to give a thought on this? Any feedback or any comment or anything which they like to see? Like I like to ask from Power BI side. We have many people working on Power BI side. If they have any kind of suggestions on what can be done on this kind of projects. If they want to explore any functionality, please speak up. So we can include those things in our next webinar.
Yeah, if we have some time, I have a question on what I just saw. In one of the Power BI dashboards, we saw a map, the map of United States. So is there some special geometry that we are using to, mash up the match up the geo objects with the data. How does it happen in Power BI?
Who
Yeah.
wants to
So I
take that
think
question?
Ye-
Tarang, Amarnath, or somebody from Power BI?
Okay, so maybe I can give some background of that little bit, what I have an understanding with respect to Oracle. So basically, Sangram, nowadays these tools are, I have like in the tools, they have given that feature. So for example, we have given the names of the region. So USA, then we have different regions in the USA. So in the tool, they have the capability to the just uh, uh, point that state on using their lat longs. It is already pre-configured in the Power BI perspective. So as we are showing data in the region perspective, so region A has this much of sales, and that region is a proper name of any of the region in the USA. So that will automatically get plotted onto the Power BI graph on that geographs. So this is what I found in Power BI as well as in OACS as well. So previously, yes, when if I talk about like 5-6 years back or more, so in OBIEE, when we have to do the like we have to do the plotting on this geographs, so that requires a lot of configuration. We have to load the data, geo data in the database, and then configure it with the OBIEE. So those steps has been like they have enhanced those things, and now they are just plug and play. So you just bring the data which has a proper name of the state, country, region, city, and it will get automatically plotted on the graph.
Sure. Yeah.
Hope
Thanks for
I've
that.
answered. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Good to know.
Okay, great. Looks like Samal. Any more questions, or we are all
No,
okay?
no, I don't see any hand raise, no question in the chat or Q&A section. So I think we are good to conclude the session. So
Okay.
before, yeah.
Hey, Amol, I just want to add something before we conclude. I just want to say, like, we want to plan more webinars like this. So people who are joining in, thank you so much. And please contact me, Tushti, anyone, if you have a topic and you want to present it to anyone. We would like to continue the series on different topics. And if you think like, you have an interest on a particular topic, we can plan it. Give us 2-3 weeks, prepare a document, a PDF, just like Amol and Tarang have done, or Ishwar had done earlier. And we would like to continue that. So please show some interest and let us know. And we will, plan that for it. Thank you. So Amol, that's what I
Sure.
wanted to say. Yeah.
Yes, Rupali, we'll definitely forward for more webinar and knowledge sharing sessions. So yeah, I want to do my concluding remarks. Before that, I want to uh, convey a special thanks to Rupali and Amit, who has been extremely cooperating with us, helping and motivating us throughout this journey of developing this application or a POC. I would like to thanks to both of them. And from attendees perspective, a recorded version of this webinar will be available on Teams. So maybe I or Rupali will share the link with you. Also, we will email you this presentation, PPT presentation for your reference, which then later you can reference. If you have any question later, also get in touch with me and Taran, and we will definitely try to answer those questions. So yeah, thank you all of
Sure.
you.
So before we start to depart, thanks Amol for coordinating. Thanks Rupali for making it happen, and Tushti as well. And thanks Tarang and Amarnath. So just want to recognize the folks who have developed this proof of concept over last few weeks. They've been working hard at it, and I think it's it's given us a tool which we can take to the market, and we'll be exploring that. Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, thanks, Amit. Thank you so much. And I'll just an add on, and thanks to Amarnath for the work what he has done. So I was just guiding it, and all the things has been done by Amarnath. So thanks Amarnath for your efforts on this one.
Thank you, Trang. Thank you, Amit.
Yeah, sure. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thanks everyone. Bye bye.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Hi, Tarang. Thank you.